Okay, I took a little break and now I am ready. Estoy lista para hacer un champurrado. I am going to show you the ingredients. I've already started the process. Ya empecé poquito el proceso. Estoy hirviendo el agua con la canela y el clavo. I have been boiling the water with the stick of cinnamon and the little cloves, I guess, the whole cloves. And so right now I am going to add the next ingredient, but let me show you all the ingredients that it takes. If you want to take note, um, I'll see if you can see it from this angle. So for the champurrado, you're going to need 2 liters of water, which is the equivalent of 2 quarts. So that much water I put in. Le puse 2 litros de agua aquí a la olla a hervir. And then you are going to need I think it's the cloves, these little, oh, hard to see. I don't know the angle of this camera. The little cloves. I put them in the water to boil along with 1 stick of cinnamon, a cinnamon stick. So those are boiling. So now that the water is boiling for a while and the water has turned brown, I am going to add the piloncillo. Voy a agregarle el piloncillo, which is this Mexican brown cone that is kind of like brown sugar. And it's going to dissolve in there along with, so it's this piloncillo. I'm going to add it to the water, to the 2 quarts of water, and I'm going to make sure to mix it. Then I'm also going to dissolve the chocolate. I'm going to dissolve the chocolate in there and mix it up, continue to mix it up so it doesn't stick. So I needed 1 of the piloncillo of that cones and 1.5 tablets of this Mexican chocolate little blocks. Okay, so 1.5 of those. So these are done. These ingredients are done. Just want to make sure that we move them out of the way. So now I have to keep stirring. Okay. The other thing I am going to do, the next thing, is that I am going to mix the other ingredients, which are the 3 cups of water. You can see I have these 3 cups, 1 of these cups, 1 of these cups, and 1 of these measuring cups. I happen to have these cute abuelita cups that were outside when I went to get my mom's picture. So I added 3 of these cups to the blender of water. And in that water, I am going to add the next ingredient, which is the cornmeal. 1.5 cups of the cornmeal. So what I did with that cornmeal is I poured it in this pan and I have roasted it. So now I am going to add this roasted meal to the water that I have already put into my blender. As you can see, it's right here. Okay, I'm sorry that the lighting is not so good here. My surface light is not on, not working. But so the water is there. So I need to keep stirring here. I need to keep stirring because the cinnamon and the chocolate, we don't want it to stick. So I'm gonna stir while I bring my cornmeal to the blender and add a little bit at a time as I blend it. So a little bit at a time. Let me see. Let me move this a little. So I'm gonna add a little and blend. Oh, sorry. I didn't put the top lid on and I should have. So I'm gonna add more of it because I'm adding a little bit at a time so it doesn't get lumpy. While that's blending, I want to make sure that I am stirring on this end so that the chocolate and the piloncillo, the brown sugar, dissolves nice and doesn't stick to the bottom. And when that is done, I am going to take out the cinnamon sticks and the clavos, the cloves. Okay, continue to stir. I think this is almost all ready to be, it's already almost dissolved. So I'm gonna lower the heat and finish adding the cornmeal, the toasted cornmeal, to my 3 cups of water. Remember, this was 1.5 cup of the cornmeal, which I toasted. You don't have to toast it, but I think it's best, it tastes better if you do. Because this is how my neighbor friend, Beatriz, says, Beatriz's daughter, Popa, showed me. She did it for me one time. I asked her to do it for me because I didn't know how. So I'm going to continue. Okay. So now that, let me see if you can still see. Now that this piloncillo is all done, I'm going to take out all the excess cinnamon sticks and clavos, the little cloves, so it doesn't have that roughage in it. Hope I got it all. So now that I have that there, I am going to add this masa mix a little at a time, and then I need to stir and stir and stir. So now I need to cook this masa for a few minutes. Just continue to stir. Let me see if I can move my camera over so you can see better. Just make sure it's dry, because I spill water when I turn on that blender without the top. I want to make sure it's pretty dry. So I'm going to put this here so I could move my camera. So there. So now I am stirring and stirring until the masa thickens. So we've added most of the ingredients except for the carnation milk that I will add in a little while. The other thing that I need to add is a pinch of salt, just a pinch of salt. Let's see. And a little capful of vanilla, or a teaspoon of vanilla. So I'm going to add a teaspoon of vanilla extract. And I'm going to continue to stir. We want that masa, that cornmeal to cook. In the meantime, I'm going to open my can of evaporated milk to get it ready to add. I haven't opened one of these cans for a long time. There it goes. So continue to stir. Smells good. And then once that stirs for a little bit, I'm going to add the whole can of this evaporated milk. And it's going to turn a lighter brown because of the milk than what it was. And then it's just a matter of stirring and stirring until it thickens. And hopefully it will be good. So I'm going to stir and stir for a few minutes until it thickens up. So the ingredients again were 1.5 cup of maseca. Los ingredientes, 1.5 tazas de maseca que se tuesta y luego se agrega a las 2 litros de agua en la licuadora. Then you mix that in a little at a time once you roast it. If you choose to roast it, you don't have to roast it. You add the 2 quarts of water and add the 1.5 cups of maseca and blend it. In the meantime, you boil your the 2 quarts of water go here, and you start to boil the cinnamon stick with the clove little nails. We call them clavitos. And so once the water changes color, because the cinnamon stick has flavor has been extracted, and the cloves, then you add that cone, which is kind of like a brown sugar. El piloncillo se le agrega ya que se disuelve bien y cambia de color el agua, se disuelve el chocolate y el piloncillo. And then once that is there for, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes, or a few minutes, then you add the cornmeal in here. A pinch of salt, and then leave that to boil a little bit, and then you add the milk. And that's how I am making this champurrado today. A little bit different. I combined some of my old an old recipe from Popa, from my neighbor, and one that I saw on Facebook. So I tried something different with not the whole milk. Traté este champurrado diferente con leche de bote porque traje mandado y se me olvidó, no sé cómo, pero se me olvidó la leche, entonces no tenía suficiente leche. Y seguí la receta con la leche le llamamos la leche de PET o la leche evaporada. Aquí por aquí vi otro palito de canela. Aquí está. Voy a ver si lo puedo sacar. Pero ya va a estar ya no más que hierva y se haga espesito, ya que se cosa la masa debe de espesar. Estoy buscando. I'm fishing out little pieces of the cinnamon stick. I don't want it to be there. I think I got it. If I see a little more, I'll pull it out. So once this is mixed, ya que esté bien revuelto, que no se pegue, cuando ya vaya a estar, when it's already thickened, One of the tools used that is a traditional tool is the molinillo. It is a Mexican tool that is used to froth para hacer que se haga globitos, que se espese y que quiebre el chocolate. You use this little tool to break up and to make it frothy. It's a molinillo, a little mixer from Mexico. So it should make it frothy and bubbly. Today's the last day that I'm going to turn on my outside lights. I'm one of the few people, I don't know, that keep the lights on for this special day of Dia de los Reyes. So, hoy tengo las luces puestas y mi árbol. Hoy va a ser el último día que las prendo porque ya voy a empezar a empacar y quitar todo el Navidad poco a poquito. But my lights are still on because of this special day. Today will be the last night. Then when the weather is good, I know we're going to have a little bit of snow. I'm going to wait till that snow is over so everything is dry again and it's not so cold outside, so that I can start packing all of my wreaths on my gate and the bows and the lights and all of my flowers, my poinsettias that are on my barrels. It's a lot of work, but the outside, I think my grandkids will be able to help me. So I'm going to start with the inside little by little. But if I can do some of the outside, except for climbing on the roof to take off the lights, I will have them help me. So I'm hoping this will thicken as it cooks a little more. It's supposed to be a little bit thick. We'll see. I turn on the bells on my grandfather clock. I think it sounds pretty, but it interrupts me. I should turn it off when I'm doing stories. Me encanta cómo suena mi reloj, pero interrumpe durante el cuento. Debería de haber apagado. So we just keep stirring. I think I used everything. I hope you got. I don't know how to make the ingredients show up on the screen. I'm gonna have to ask my student that helps me with technology to show me how to do that, so I could put the ingredients and the directions on the screen. Después de que me enseñe cómo agregar el texto con los ingredientes y las instrucciones de la receta, que me ayude mi estudiante que me está ayudando con la tecnología. Cuando yo lo aprenda, lo voy a incorporar en mis recetas. Pero ahorita pues no sé, nomás les estoy diciendo y ojalá que... Yo sé que muchos hacen el champurrado, pero si lo quieren tratar de esta manera, también se puede. So you can try, there are all kinds of recipes online on YouTube. People make it different ways, depending on where they learned it from, what family member helped them with it, what traditional passed down recipe we pick up from our ancestors. So this is mine today, a little different than what Popa showed me because I used the pet milk since I forgot my regular milk. So we'll see if I like this or if I like the fresh milk better. We will see. Still looks a little runny. I'm hoping it'll thicken up a little bit. Maybe if I add, because it doesn't have to be cooked, if I add a little more of the cornmeal and make sure it doesn't stick, it'll thicken. I added a half a cup. Le agregué poquito más maseca para ver si se espesa un poquito más. Now I have to really blend it up because it's going to turn into little balls, which it already did. So I have to make sure I break that up. I think my better tool is going to be this tool because I can press on it. I'll put this one aside for a little bit. I just wanted to thicken a little bit more. It looks a little thicker. I just have to make sure all these little clumps are dissolved and are no longer there. Yep, it's working. They are no longer big clumps. It looks, I don't know, needs to thicken up a little more. I'm gonna taste it in a little bit to see what it tastes like, so to get it to cool off a little bit. So I'm going to scoop some with this cup. This is a wedding gift, believe it or not. Mine and Santos' wedding gift. I have a whole set of these little guys. And this right here, my daughter brought me from Mexico, from Puebla. She said, don't store it in your china cabinet. I want you to use it. So I use it a lot. It's already chipped. It actually tastes really good. I'm just going to continue to stir to thicken it up a little bit more. I don't think I need to add any more maseca. So I think it's done. It tastes pretty good. I think I'm going to stop right there, cover it up, turn it off, and in the morning I will deliver some of this. I already told my daughter I'll take the champurrado. So here is my look of my kitchen. Now I will clean up. I don't know if I'll have energy tonight or tomorrow, but I have my cup of champurrado. Tengo mi tacita de champurrado. Está rico. I think I'm going to sit down, rest a little bit, and review my videos. Hopefully they turned out okay, and have, I don't know, maybe I'll have a concha with my cup of champurrado. Tired a little bit. Well, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something. It really did taste good. I like it. I think this is a good recipe for when you don't have the milk. I try to keep the condensed milk and that thick milk, la leche, what do you call it? That very sweetened milk, because I use those for my tres leches cakes. And also if I want to make atole de arroz or rice pudding, you can use the pet milk. That's what my mom used to use. So that's this recipe is good for when you don't have fresh milk, I guess. And it is really good. It is just really hot. But it tastes really good. Okay. I am going to say good night. It is already 8:33. I hope you like what I was making. Lydia, I am making champurrado. I'm going to write it down for you. Champurrado. There. So anyway, good night. This is a little bit tiring, but a lot of fun. Keeps me busy. Now I'm going to watch the news. So sad to hear what's going on in DC. And my goodness, it is just getting worse. So let's pray for peace and hope that things calm down, especially with the inauguration of Biden coming on. I know that they're not going to take that quietly either. Just sad because it's just not us. I hope and I pray for peace. Peace be with you too, and enjoy your champurrado. Hopefully, I'll have some left for when it snows here in a day or two. I'll leave some and live in the fridge, so hopefully I can have some while it's snowing with a little bit of rosca or pan dulce. Okay? Well, good night. Thank you for watching. I hope you learned something. Buenas noches.